Sherlock Holmes is a famous detective created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Everyone knows him as the clever man who solves crimes using logic and careful observation. But there is a secret part of Sherlock Holmes' story that few people know about. This is the untold story of Sherlock Holmes. Chapter 1: Early Life before the famous detective. Before Sherlock became the great detective beloved by so many, his early life was quiet and full of uncertainty. As a young boy growing up in London, Sherlock was very different from the bright and confident man people later knew. He was shy and often kept to himself, not the bold character many imagine. While many children his age played and laughed loudly, Sherlock preferred the company of books and his own thoughts. He had a deep love for reading, especially books about nature, science, and how things worked. These subjects fascinated him because they revealed secrets of the world in clear, simple ways. But school was not an easy place for young Sherlock. He didn't enjoy it as much as many others did. The subjects were sometimes dull, and his classmates did not understand him. He was teased often for being different. His quiet nature, unusual interests, and sharp observation skills made him stand out, and not always in a good way. Many children found him strange and mocked him. This made Sherlock even more reserved, pushing him to keep his thoughts to himself and retreat into his books or wander the streets alone. London itself was Sherlock's true classroom. Instead of playgrounds and games, he found adventure in the bustling streets, narrow alleys, and crowded markets of the city. He loved to watch people, not just look at them, but see them closely, noticing small things others missed. He studied how people dressed, the tiny details on their clothing that told stories about their jobs or habits. He watched how their hands moved, whether they were rough or soft, calloused or clean, and how their footsteps changed depending on their mood or purpose. From these small observations, Sherlock began to piece together a skill that would one day make him famous, understanding people deeply through careful study. His interest in human behavior grew out of something more important than curiosity: his desire to protect those who could not protect themselves. London was a city of extremes. While some people lived in luxury, others faced poverty, hunger, and injustice every day. Sherlock saw the weak and helpless suffering, often caught in unfair situations or hurt by criminals. This troubled him deeply. Instead of turning away, Sherlock became determined to use his powers of observation and his intelligence to help those in need. Even as a boy, this sense of justice motivated him to look beneath the surface and understand the truth behind appearances. In this way, Sherlock's early years were not just about learning facts or solving puzzles. They were about developing a powerful way of seeing the world, a way that combined knowledge, empathy, and the courage to stand up for what is right. This hidden side of his childhood set the foundation for the legendary detective that he would later become. The man who could see what others missed and who always fought for justice, no matter the cost. Chapter 2: The Lost Years. Before Sherlock Holmes became the famous detective we all know, he spent many years struggling to find his true path. These years are often called the lost years because very little is known about them, and even Sherlock himself rarely spoke about this time in his life. It was a period of confusion, loneliness, and trial as he searched for a way to use his special talents. In these early adult years, Sherlock tried many different jobs, hoping to find one that would fit his mind and skills. At one point, he decided to study medicine, thinking that understanding the human body could help him solve mysteries later on. However, the practical side of medicine, with its routine and rules, did not excite him. He found himself bored by some parts and frustrated that he couldn't fully apply his sharp powers of observation and deduction. Sherlock also worked as a clerk in a law office for a short time. This job required him to handle paperwork and legal documents, which was orderly but dull. While law was connected to justice, a cause Sherlock cared about, it didn't allow him to think freely or solve problems creatively. He felt trapped in a system that valued rules over real understanding, and he soon left. During these years, Sherlock's life was mostly lonely. He had very few close friends because he often preferred his own company, focusing inward on his thoughts and studies. Socializing was difficult for him, as he found many people's conversations dull and distracting. This solitude helped him develop his skills but also made him feel isolated from the world around him. To change things and expand his knowledge, Sherlock traveled outside England. He spent time in France and Germany, two countries well known for their advances in science and police work. These trips were important for him. In France, he studied forensic science, the new field that used scientific methods to investigate crimes. In Germany, he learned about different ways police officers worked, and he observed famous detectives in action. These experiences opened Sherlock's mind to new ideas and approaches. He understood that crime solving was not just about guessing, but about carefully gathering facts, testing theories, and using science. Traveling also allowed him to meet other thinkers and experts who pushed him to improve his methods. Sherlock began experimenting with chemistry, anatomy, and psychology, discovering tools he would later use in his detective work. Although these years were hard and full of uncertainty, they prepared Sherlock for his future. By trying many paths and learning from different cultures, he shaped the detective he would become. These lost years were the quiet foundation of the incredible mind that could solve mysteries others thought impossible. Sherlock's struggles during this time showed his determination and patience. Instead of giving up, he kept learning, traveling, and searching until he found the perfect way to use his unique talents. And it was after this long, difficult journey that he finally met Dr. John Watson, who would become his loyal friend and partner in the adventures we read about today. Chapter 3: Behind the Great Detective, The Secret Mentor. During Sherlock Holmes's travels through Europe, one meeting changed the course of his life, a meeting that most people have never heard about. In a small town in Germany, Sherlock encountered an old man who would become his secret mentor. This man was not an ordinary professor. He was a mysterious figure known only to a few as an expert in the art of the mind and the hidden skills needed for survival and investigation. This professor was a master of many things. While he was an accomplished scientist who understood chemistry, anatomy, and psychology, he was also skilled in far stranger arts. He was a master of disguise, able to change his appearance so completely that no one could recognize him. He knew how to keep secrets carefully hidden and how to move silently in the shadows. Sherlock was fascinated by this man's knowledge and realized that learning from him could give him the edge no one else had. Under the professor's guidance, Sherlock learned how to use his mind not just for observing facts, but for controlling what he revealed to others. The professor taught him techniques to hide his true thoughts during conversations so that others could never guess what he was thinking or planning. Sherlock also learned how to pick locks quickly and silently, skills that would help him enter places where criminals tried to hide their secrets. More than that, the professor taught him about special chemicals, puzzling powders, liquids, and gases that could reveal invisible clues such as fingerprints, poisons, or hidden messages. This mentorship was kept completely secret. Sherlock never mentioned the professor to anyone, including Dr. Watson, because he believed strongly in the power of personal skill and hard work. To admit that he had a secret teacher might make people think his talents were not truly his own or that he was cheating. Sherlock wanted his success to be because of his own effort and intelligence, not because of secret tricks. This secret training helped Sherlock develop the unique methods that made him world famous. His ability to disguise himself, to see details others missed, and to uncover hidden facts came from the lessons this professor taught him. These skills allowed Sherlock to surprise criminals, gain unexpected information, and solve crimes that others thought impossible. The old professor disappeared from Sherlock's life after a few years, but the lessons remained forever. Sherlock took this secret knowledge and combined it with his natural gift for logic and observation. It was this blend of science, skill, and mental discipline that helped Sherlock Holmes become the greatest detective the world has ever known. This hidden connection to the secret mentor adds a new layer to Sherlock's story. He was not born knowing everything, but he was wise enough to learn from those who had mastered hidden arts. It shows that behind the cool logic and sharp mind was also a man who trained hard, practiced many skills, and kept some secrets locked away to protect his uniqueness. Chapter 4: The Untold Adventures. Many of Sherlock Holmes's adventures are famous and have been written down for all to read. Stories like his hunt for the dangerous Jack the Ripper or his fierce battle of wits against the criminal mastermind Professor Moriarty are well known around the world. But there are many other adventures that Sherlock never shared with the public. These untold cases remained hidden because Sherlock believed some truths were better left secret, especially when protecting innocent people or avoiding unnecessary panic. One of the earliest secret cases happened when Sherlock was still building his reputation. London's underground tunnels, a maze of dark passages and forgotten places beneath the city, were targeted by a mysterious secret group. This group planned to take control of the tunnels and use them to cause chaos, blocking important routes, setting fires, and frightening the citizens of London. The group's goal was to create such fear and confusion that the city would be forced to obey their demands. Sherlock uncovered the group's plan through careful detective work. He studied clues left in the city, listened to whispers in shadowy places, and followed secret messages hidden in everyday conversations. When he found the group's hideout deep in the tunnels, he used cunning and his special skills to surprise the criminals, stopping their dangerous plot before it could begin. Because Sherlock wanted to avoid panic and prevent copycats from learning about these hidden tunnels, he erased all records of this case. No letters, no newspaper reports, no tales were written. It was as if the event never happened. Only Sherlock and a few trusted friends knew the truth. This was a case where keeping a secret was more important than fame. Another untold story involved a poor family living on the edges of London. They were innocent but had been arrested for a crime they did not commit. The real criminals had used lies and false evidence to blame this family, hoping to escape punishment. Sherlock was called quietly to investigate because the family's friends pleaded for help, afraid the innocent would suffer an unfair fate. Sherlock worked behind the scenes, visiting the family's small home, talking to neighbors, and searching for clues the police had missed. He found hidden evidence proving the family's innocence and discovered the true criminals who had framed them. Using his influence, Sherlock convinced the police to release the family, but the family wanted to avoid public attention so they could rebuild their lives in peace. Sherlock respected their wish and asked Dr. Watson not to write or tell the story. These untold adventures show a Sherlock Holmes different from the hero of thrilling stories. They reveal a man who valued privacy, compassion, and justice more than reputation and glory. Sherlock often chose to work quietly, solving problems by protecting people's secrets and helping those in trouble without drawing attention. These hidden stories remind us that being a detective is not only about exciting chases or dramatic confrontations. Sometimes it is about small, unseen acts of kindness and bravery that change lives quietly. Sherlock Holmes's true greatness lay not only in his clever mind but also in his careful choice to protect the innocent, even if those stories never reached the pages of history books. Chapter 5: The Human Side of Sherlock Holmes. People often think Sherlock is cold and only cares about solving puzzles, but deep down, he has a heart that feels pain and joy. Sherlock rarely talked about his emotions because he thought feelings would make him weaker. One secret from his private life is that he once fell in love but lost the woman because he was too focused on his work. This heartbreak made him decide to avoid relationships so he could focus better on his cases. Sherlock also had a soft spot for children and animals. He often helped stray dogs find homes and would sometimes give small gifts to children he met on the streets. These acts showed his kindness, but he never wanted anyone to know because he wanted to appear strong and logical to the world. Chapter 6: The Final Mystery. After many years of solving some of the toughest crimes, Sherlock vanished from London. The public was shocked because they thought he had died. But the truth is, Sherlock chose to go away and live quietly in a small village, helping people with small problems and protecting them from danger without fame or recognition. He lived there for many years, writing down his cases in secret journals. These journals are hidden somewhere, waiting to be found. If someone discovers them, they would see the full untold story of Sherlock Holmes, the man behind the legend. This untold story shows us that Sherlock Holmes was not just a perfect detective, but a human being with hopes, fears, and secrets. His real life was filled with lessons, pain, kindness, and hidden adventures that made him the hero he is today.